I'm outside of the Cullen County Criminal Courthouse for day 3 of testimony in Karmelo Anthony's trial. This morning we heard from 4 witnesses that took the stand this Saturday morning, and there was a lot of consistency with what they were testifying to. One witness flat out said that he believed Karmelo Anthony was trying to provoke Austin Metcalf. They went on to say that he was asked several times, Karmelo Anthony, to leave the tent because he didn't belong there. And then he went on to give this quote. He claimed that Karmelo Anthony said, "Y'all a bunch of pussies," before the sing. Now, again, that's key given the fact that Karmelo Anthony's lawyers are trying to argue self-defense, while the witnesses that were there that day claim that Karmelo Anthony was provoking Austin Metcalf. Now, according to those that witnessed what had unraveled that day, they claim that Austin Metcalf pushed Karmelo Anthony. Yesterday, we heard one witness say that it was in between a light push and a heavy push. Another witness who was sitting next to Karmelo Anthony said that it wasn't that heavy of a push, given the fact he was sitting right next to him and Karmelo Anthony didn't hit him. So those are all real key elements to this. Now, we also heard from a witness that believed that Karmelo Anthony used lethal force against non-lethal force. Another witness went on the record to say that he believed what unraveled in front of his eyes was in fact murder. Now, we just heard from one reporter that's inside the courtroom, and again, it's a very limited amount of media that's allowed access. One reporter believes that the prosecution might actually wrap up its witnesses today. So that means possibly on Monday, we could be hearing from the criminal defense side of all of this and see who they're going to put on the stand. So things are going to get very, very interesting as it unravels. I'll be outside the Cullen County Criminal Courthouse bringing you the very latest.
They compared it to a team bench in other sports, and he told jurors, quote, "You just don't go into someone else's tent uninvited." A Frisco firefighter paramedic testifying that when he arrived, Metcalf had no pulse.
Yes, one person covering this topic was attacked by black women. If you take a look at the tweet, black women call me disgusting after my reaction to Karmelo Anthony supporters saying they would defend him regardless of the facts. I get told I should not criticize black people because I'm black. See with how strange that is. The same person calling me a sellout just handed me a set of required opinion based on nothing but my skin color and then called me the problem. The bottom line is not the skin color. That is the problem. Is the culture. This is what they do every single time. If you stand up for the truth that go contrary to this issue of skin color, immediately they start attacking you. And this is actually, it should not be happening. In 2026, I don't want to be saying things like this. It is embarrassing to see someone saying the truth, then refusing to accept it. This whole Karmelo Anthony case is revolving around race. I just want to plead with them. If the outcome is that this guy is guilty, they should accept it and move on like everyone else.
The center of the prosecution's case right now are these students that were under the tent. They saw the sting and the moments leading up to it. More than 10 of these students testified that Austin Metcalf repeatedly asked Anthony to leave. Several recalled Anthony responding, "Touch me and find out." Now, jurors also heard that Metcalf made the first physical contact, but witnesses described it as minor. One called it a soft touch, another described it as a little push. They testified that moments later, Anthony pulled out a 5-inch folding knife from his backpack and stabbed Metcalf in the chest. The defense argues Anthony acted out of self-defense and fear. Now, one of the key witnesses today was a 17-year-old teammate of Metcalf's who was under the tent. He testified that Metcalf tried to avoid a fight, telling Anthony, quote, "Dude, I'm not going to fight you at a track meet." Now, jurors also heard from an 18-year-old witness today. This is important testimony because he knew both Anthony and Metcalf, and he was the student who Anthony was apparently saying hi to. He testified when Austin asked him to leave, quote, "Karmelo said you'll have to move me." Austin put his hand on his back. "I saw Karmelo's hand go in the backpack. We're at a track meet. I wouldn't expect anything to be in there," Karmelo said. "Touch me, you'll have to move me and find out," trying to provoke him. Then what happens, the prosecutor asked. He said Austin puts his hand on him and falls back. How was Austin trying to move him, the prosecutor asked. He responded it was him trying to move him off his seat, a soft shove. The prosecutor then said, "What did Austin do?" The witness replied, "I see the hole in his chest and blood. he starts screaming for help. Now, the state's last witness was a medical examiner. The prosecution showed 4 pictures of Metcalf. His family stepped outside the courtroom so that they didn't have to see that. Meanwhile, if convicted, Anthony faces up to life behind bars. Tommy.
We're going to stand by ours regardless. This is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
Wow, those were the chaotic scenes outside of a Texas courthouse this week. Trial of Karmelo Anthony. Hello, everyone. This is the second hour of the big weekend show. It is day 3 of the trial of Karmelo Anthony, and he's accused of first-degree.
Karmelo Anthony supporters, you all need to do the right thing for once. If the evidence shows he is guilty, own it. Stop turning every self-defense case into a racial martyrdom narrative. No demonstrations, no most peaceful looting, no excuses. A kid is gone. Facts over feelings. If the jury says guilty, respect the verdict like everyone else has to. The pattern of rape and destructions when the outcome isn't what you want has to end. Yes, I know the outcome, how these people will react. I just want to plead with them to, exercise, accept the verdict of what will come out of this, because this is something we should not be catching feelings over what just happened. I don't want to hear about self-defense. If I get this, if this guy was alive, yeah, we can have this conversation. Even having this conversation to me feel uncomfortable.
It's official. The witnesses have testified. The cameras have seen it. Don't keep coming up here talking about Karmelo Anthony was jumped. He was not. Karmelo Anthony was a victim of racial discrimination. He's not. He was a young man who had a thug mentality, and he went there, and he thought he was going to get him an easy score. The young white boy didn't back down. So
you see that? I can only imagine what the family's feeling when they're looking at their now deceased son laying here. And I'm looking towards Karmelo Anthony's side of the courtroom. And, they're just taking it all in. It's a different kind of emotional reaction. It might not be as audible and visible because it's none of their people. Of course, Karmelo sitting there facing, his liberty's at stake. He could go to jail for the rest of his life.
And so while I was still inside of the courtroom, the jury also heard testimony from 2 teens who were under the tent that fateful day.
Wrote down that I think it'll be interesting to see how the jury really processes that and how they understand.
Yes. There is something, I don't know if I should say it. If Karmelo Anthony loses this case, these people will burn down everywhere in Texas. That is just my observations, what I'm seeing. They are agitated for reasons I don't get. This is a case where we should not even be siding with someone like this. But because they are struggling to create this narrative of self-defense, it is getting to a level that, in fact, it wants to repeat itself, like what we saw with George Floyd. That is exactly what I'm seeing on social media. Karmelo Anthony supporters are gearing up. Yes, for people who don't know, my YouTube channel is Omoge BlogTV, and my real name is Ransom. That is the question I see every day. Please, what is your real name? I'm called Ransom. So if you meet me on the street, that is how you should call me. I don't want to prolong the video. And please stay through with me. I will continue to update you on this topic. And so the short clips you see at the end, that is for what you can always skip.
Supporting Spencer, talking about Steve Hilton as well. And it's surprising. So the ranks are breaking up because at a certain point, you're like, well, this is ridiculous.
Obviously got wanted 5 more months
ending up
for Los Angeles.
I had Spencer Pratt on my podcast the other day. I think
So this is breaking news. Everyone that supports me is a Democrat.
Encouraging her fans not to vote for Pratt. For a fan.
Seen this city just fall apart.
Mayorship, insurance companies, they don't have to pay for people to rebuild their homes.
Aaron Bass.
I just wanted to share how happy I am to be out.
The city councilwoman.
They said they can't just open up these cases with.
Can't keep streetlights on.
to the media. We do not care.
He's elitist in California. Now you realize people everywhere in America make fun of people.
And so this is my life.
You're talking about qualifications, right? Yeah. And the black community.
It's illegal. Spencer Pratt, who's running for mayor of Los Angeles.
Able to. I know, but
Also, I have to say,
we don't even have the trust of our own people.
Remarkable what he's accomplished. I'm from California. I have family in LA.
Chelsea Handler, she's not a fan, said me.
The only people that aren't are the socialists.
2010.